All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm sorry that I can't be there with you today, but still trying to do my best over link to do a presentation about Nixu. So, like you said, Teemu Salmi is my name. I am quite recent CEO of Nixu since now 7 weeks back, August 1st. And I wanted to take the opportunity today to introduce a little bit about Nixu and our way forward, where we stand today, and what are the focus areas for us as a company. So if we start with, first of all, moving into Nixu and what Nixu is, of course, we are a pure play cybersecurity player. We are approximately 400 cybersecurity specialists that are located in 5 different countries, in Finland, Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Romania. We offer a 360 cybersecurity services portfolio, and I'll come back to that in just a second to share a little bit more what that is on the coming slide. We have been around for a very long time, since 1988. We are listed on Nasdaq in Helsinki as a company, and we started specializing in cybersecurity some 10 plus years ago, and has taken us to where we are today on a growth journey as a pure play cybersecurity company. And we're very proud of our customer satisfaction with a customer net promoter score of 70 when it comes to the results and scores of last year. And if we then move over to the portfolio that we have, you can basically see that our portfolio is divided into 2 parts. We have one part is related to projects and helping our customers more or less realizing their cybersecurity journey, all the way from together with our customers creating roadmaps around cybersecurity, how they should address cybersecurity topics, how do you work with your board, how do you work with your executive team, how do you deploy technological roadmaps for cybersecurity, and also processes. How do you work in a more practical way in your corporation, for instance, with ISO standards and NIST standards and other cybersecurity related standards. And connected to that, we also have a separate company where we are an accreditor of different standards. We can actually accredit also ISO 27001 related work for our customers. Then on top of that, we do different kind of projects. The digital identity and zero trust is a big topic, and we are partnering with many the biggest software suppliers of the world, where we integrate and deploy the digital identity solutions for our customers. And we have a special part of the company which focuses on industrial IoT or IoT in general, which is a very large growing segment in the Industry 4.0 concept. So that's where we focus quite a lot. If we then look at the other side of our portfolio, you would also see our continuous business, managed services. So we operate and run and manage the cybersecurity for many of our customers. So 24/7, 365 operations and managed services. And we do that out of a security operating center that we have based out of Finland, where we try to deliver on a global basis to all our customers. So if we look at the drivers of the future market for us as a company, I was planning to take you through 3 different blocks here. The mega trends that are shaping the future for us, the market dynamics that we play in, and then the customer needs and the behavior, and how that will actually fuel our industry and fuel our business and get us where we want to go as a company. So if we start with the mega trends of the world, of course, we see, general digitalization of society. We just see the beginning of that, to be honest. Many companies, many societies, and in particular, supply chains now are being digitized. And like I said, the journey has only begun there. So that's one definite mega trend that is fueling also the need of cybersecurity capabilities in the market. Geopolitics, we can't neglect the fact that there are tragic geopolitics like war in Europe that is also fueling unfortunate cyber criminality, and there needs to be someone on the good side helping the society and companies to survive in that mode as well. And then a general rise of cybercrime. I think that cybercrime is unfortunately becoming a new normal. It's something that will not just go away. It is here to stay, and we have to make sure that as a society and as companies, we can help them to realize a good security and safety work with cybercriminality. So if you look at some of the data points, just underlying the message that I'm saying, that there has been a 62% increase in ransomware attacks since 2019 and 54% increase just in year over year. That's a staggering amount of growth in ransomware. And another data point, you can see there's 15.4 million distributed denial of service attacks estimated for this year. And distributed denial of service attack is basically when someone overloads a network of someone. So basically it becomes inoperable. This means that there are more than 42,000 attacks a day. And then you see that there's some other KPIs as well, but all of these leading to that there is a necessity to invest more in cybersecurity. And myself, coming quite recently from being a CIO for a big international forestry company, I know the necessity of building a cyber resilient system. And that is definitely in focus of all the corporations around the world today. If we then focus or move over to the next focus area, which is then market dynamics, as you could see and hear from my previous statements, there's a stronger need of improved cyber defense. And the maturity of cyber defense is still on pretty low or moderate level. There's much more work that needs to be done to raise the general cybersecurity level across society and across companies. Investments are increasing in cybersecurity. I will show you that in the next slide when it comes to how the market growth is predicted globally and in the markets where Nixu today are present. And then also skill shortage. There's a huge skill shortage of cybersecurity capabilities. There's an estimation of 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs that are missing currently to be filled. And I can tell only a recent study in Sweden showed that in Sweden only, which is a fairly small country, there's 70,000 cybersecurity jobs lacking right now. So which also means that many corporates and many companies comes to us as experts to help them handle their cybersecurity related issues and strategies. And just then to underline also how the market growth is looking on this slide, you can see I chose to pick one of the external views. This is Gartner predicting the growth of the cybersecurity market and business. The dashed line you can see here is the global trend of cybersecurity services and in globally and also in the markets where we play as Nixu. And then you can see the top line there is then showing the dark pink top line is then showing the professional services for the markets where Nixu is playing and rising from a modest 1% growth estimated for this year to be constantly around plus 10% the coming year, even peaking at almost 17% in 2024. And as a company, we of course we are part of the growth, and our ambition is to grow faster than the market, and this is definitely then where we set the line for our anticipated growth for the future as well. Then the third element or the third area I would like to touch base upon as well is the customer needs and the behavior. And like I already said earlier in my presentation, that cybersecurity is becoming or is already in many cases a board topic, and cybersecurity is handled as an enterprise risk management topic like any other enterprise risk management topic. This was not the case 5-10 years ago. Then cybercriminality was seen as an IT topic out there. Now cybercriminality is definitely an own topic in itself, requiring an own strategy, requiring an own solution as well to be handled, so to say, that goes cross companies and cross societies. And there's a lot of focus from that perspective on maturity and process development for many companies. How do we become resilient? How do we work more proactively and strategic-wise as a company to stay on top of what's happening outside and to prevent any of the bad things from outside coming inside? And that's also where we as a Nixu company can help our customers and clients to actually help them creating these cybersecurity roadmaps and also execute them to make sure that they rise on the maturity scale when it comes to cybersecurity as well. There's a, as you could see from my previous slide, there's a huge increase in investment anticipated both in technology and services when it comes to cybersecurity. And the supply chains are demanding good cybersecurity. We've seen so many attacks recently on different parts of the supply chain. And also supply chain itself, customer-vendor relationships, there's a lot of requests also for when you're buying services, when you're buying products, you want to ensure that your partner also are well defended against cyber criminality, since there are so much integration in supply chains these days. And then, of course, many companies, due to skill shortage, also want to focus on their core business, which means that they are ready to outsource or do a lot of their cyber security work with external partners like Nixu, where we will play an important role in helping companies mature on the cybersecurity journey. If we then just look very quickly as one data point here on cybersecurity, on global ransomware damage costs, how they are anticipated to grow in the future. We can say that in 2022 now, we are roughly at $25 billion as estimated as damage costs from global ransomware. And only in the next coming 9 years, that will tenfold. It will tenfold to $265 billion. This is, of course, tragic in many ways, but it also means that there's a great opportunity to help the society and companies to become more resilient and to handle and to try to cut down the impact of these ransomwares that are anticipated, right? So this is also another market dynamic playing in the favor of the cybersecurity market as such. Then finally, before going into the question session, a little bit of a focus on our way forward now as Nixu. Just a short snapshot on where we are right now. We reported Q2 numbers in August. Right now we're in silent period for Q3, but we are reporting a growth. We are growing faster than the market is growing. We grew with 8% in the second quarter of this year, and our profitability is also going in the right direction. And Nixu has today a very strong brand in Finland, and our focus now is really to make sure that we copy our success in Finland to the other countries where we're active. And we see now that starting to pay off also with the growth in Sweden with 15% during the first half of this year. And then managed services is now also a business where we put a lot of focus and emphasis on, and we can see that it's growing nicely, both in the second half of compared to second half of 21, and also the first half of 21. So we're definitely on the right track with our managed services business. And then the focus areas that we have for the second half of this year is to, we just started right now a review of our strategy. We're going to spend the rest of Q4 in setting the strategy, and we're going to come out early next year with an update and market ambitions as well connected to that. I would hope that we do that in early Q1. And we will already now continue to accelerate the good business growth that we have and monetize that even further and continue to focus on the profitability. So that keeps on growing where we're expecting it to be. Strengthen our cash flow. And then, of course, our business is a people business. We need to make sure that we continue to focus on being a great place to work so we can continue to attract and retain the great capabilities and skills that we need to run our business end-to-end as Nixu Corporation. With that, I think my 15 minutes of presentation is gone, and I'm more than happy to hand over back to you in the studio for a question and answers session.
Great, thank you, Mr. Teemu Salmi, for your presentation, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Great. So you've been the CEO of Nixu 7 weeks, like you said.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're coming from a big company, Stora Enso.
Yes,
how does it feel like to be running a much smaller company?
Well, I think, for me, the size of a company does not really matter. It's more like what's the journey? What are you there to accomplish, right? And I, I'm actually a core business guy since past as well. I mean, I had a great journey being the CIO of and head of digitalization for Stora Enso for 5.5 years. It was time from many perspectives to hand over also the CIO duties to someone else within that company. And then, of course, I wanted to go back to running a business. And then this opportunity with Nixu came up. And since, of course, I've been also working with cybersecurity and having the responsibility of that in Stora Enso, it felt very natural for me to come over to Nixu and to continue my journey here. And also being a former customer of Nixu, it gave me a good feeling to join the company with the experience that we had as being a customer as well.
That sounds fantastic. You're still going through your first 100 days as a CEO. What have been the first things you've paid attention to?
Well, obviously, a couple of things that I always start with is the people dimension first. I mean, trying to understand where are people, how are people feeling, what is the biggest topic that is discussed around people, because that usually tells you something about where's the fire. You usually see the smoke first, and then you can find the fire. And then secondly, of course, is the financials, right? I mean, getting on top of the financials and seeing where we are, what do we need to address from a financial perspective, and then also making sure that we are continuing to grow a healthy business, because the underlying cybersecurity business is a growth business and it's a healthy business. We need to make sure that we, stay focused on that, work very close to our clients, and understand what the clients need in order to stay relevant as well, and offer the services that will make our clients successful, because at the end of the day, that will make us successful.
All right. Could you tell us a bit more about your background? Where are you located at the moment?
Well, at the moment, I'm located in Espoo right now. Unfortunately, I couldn't come to the studio today, but I'm actually in the greater Helsinki area. So I'm actually right now at our headquarters here in Espoo. I live actually in Sweden. I have my family in Sweden. So I live part-time in Finland, part-time in Sweden. I actually have an apartment here in Espoo as well. So I do a lot of commuting, and even though Finland is a very important and a big market for Nixu, we also have the ambition now to continue the growth that we have outside of Finland. So I'm also spending quite some time in securing that we have the right assets in place and the right focus in place to make sure that we continue the growth in the markets where we already are present, so to say.
All right. Are you a Swedish citizen?
I am a Swedish citizen. I've been a Finnish citizen until I was 18, and then I changed to Swedish citizenship. Very practical reason. I did my military service in Sweden, and that's what I changed. But I've been a Finnish citizen my first 18 years. My language, I still can socialize in Finnish, no problem, but I cannot do a business meeting in Finnish yet. Okay. My ambition is to train and practice my Finnish to that level in the coming years as well.
All right. Do you think, is Nixu going to expand in Sweden?
Absolutely. No, for sure. And like you could also already see from what I reported in Q2 is that we already grew 15% in the first half of this year compared to last year, which shows that we are moving in the right direction as a company in Sweden. And then obviously I have a pretty strong network myself in Sweden, and I, of course, trying to also make sure that Nixu becomes known a bit better on the Swedish market. So partly due to myself, but also we'll focus quite much more on marketing and branding in Sweden as well, that we haven't done well enough so far, I would say. But Sweden is definitely one of our focus markets and moving ahead. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, and we got some questions from our audience. Veijo is asking, what are the major threats and risks facing your clients at the moment?
Well, I think it's the major threats and that is, for all of us, there's nothing strange with Nixu clients. And I think if you looked at my presentation, you can see the growth of the ransomware, which I think is a concern for many corporations out there, right? No one wants to have their business blocked or business locked because, first of all, I mean, you have a huge damage to your revenue generation, but also huge damage to your brand, etc. Right? So I mean, ransomware continues to be on the rise, unfortunately. And then there's still, you could see that also in one of my slides earlier, there's big threats when it comes to overloading IT infrastructure with DDoS attacks. And then phishing continues to be a big problem. I think that more and more companies are getting, in control over phishing, but phishing gets also more sophisticated. So it's so easy to give away your credentials to a threat actor, and they unfortunately then get also control over your assets.
All right. Let's talk about business next. You mentioned those focus areas, and I was interested about the profitability.
Yes.
In which ways are you going to improve it in the future for Nixu?
No, but I think there's a couple of things that we need to focus on. I mean, one focus area is, of course, the scalability of managed services, right? I mean, you have a good scalable business operation as a fundament, right? So you need to make sure that you scale that in the good way, and that if you have a good delivery vehicle in place, you can actually onboard more clients easier, faster, more standardized, which will also, of course, then give better profitability in the longer run on scaling that business itself. Then, of course, another aspect is then cost control. It's a simple thing maybe, but yet so hard. Understanding how do we spend our money, where do we spend our money, how can we be better as a buyer ourselves, and understanding how we spend our money. So cost control is definitely one other aspect to it, right? And then making sure that we have the right market pricing, right? I think at the end of the day, it's also a very important part of it. So we need to make sure that we are on par where we want to be when it comes to market pricing.
All right.
So that would be probably my summary of those topics.
Sounds good. Sounds good. What about the growth aspect? Where will you find a sales growth?
Well, I think that what we see today, when I look at our portfolio today, we are actually growing all over the portfolio that we are offering, and I think that is going to be our continued focus. Right now, we are doing, like I said, a strategic review of our business, including our portfolio, and we will come back to, I would say, a more targeted portfolio attack plan, if you may, of how we will want to win the market in early next year. I will be able to disclose a little bit more details when we get there in early Q1. So I don't want to jump to conclusions here and now. But I would say that currently, if I look at what we have done so far this year, we are growing in all of our portfolio offerings, which is a great thing for us, of course.
How do you see your customers' investment decisions are developing? Are there delays because of the economic uncertainty?
No, we don't see that actually, and I I've said that many times. I think that cybersecurity is a non-cyclical business, right? I mean, cybersecurity will be there regardless if it's recession or if it's boom, right? I mean, the threat actors out there, they don't care about recession, they don't care about inflation, they don't care about boom, So I think cybersecurity is a non-cyclical business, and the investment needs to be there every day in order to stay secure. So we haven't seen it so far, and we can't see it coming yet either.
All right. Hey. This has been an insightful and pleasant discussion with you, Mr. Teemu Salmi.
Thank you.
I want to thank you. Thank you. Good luck in the future. Take care.
Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
Ja seuraavaksi meillä esiintyy sitten Loihteen toimitusjohtaja Samu Konttinen.